You know, sometimes life has a strange way of reminding us that nothing really belongs to us. We try so hard to hold on to people, to moments, to the things we love. And for a while it feels like they're ours. But then one day, life gently takes them away. Maybe it's a person we thought we'd never lose. Maybe it's our youth, our health, or even just a small dream that used to keep us going. And we're left there, standing quietly, realizing how fragile everything really is. Maybe you felt that too, that quiet ache when something slips out of your hands, no matter how tightly you try to hold it. It's okay. We've all been there. And maybe that's where real peace begins, not in getting more, but in learning how to let go softly without fear. You see, the Buddha once said that suffering doesn't come from what happens to us. It comes from our clinging. We suffer not because things change, but because we wanted them to stay the same. But when you really look at life, isn't it all changing all the time? The sky, the seasons, our thoughts, even our hearts, they never stay still. Maybe that's how life whispers to us. Don't hold too tight, my dear. Just be here while it's here. I remember someone once asked a monk, "What is the secret to peace?" The monk smiled and said, "To love without owning." That stayed with me. Because when you stop trying to own people or moments, love becomes softer, freer. It's not about keeping anything forever. It's about being fully there while it lasts. Think about it. Even your breath doesn't belong to you. You can't keep it. You can only take it in and then let it go. And that's how life moves, in and out, rise and fall, giving and taking, just like the ocean's tide. So maybe the secret isn't to fight against that rhythm, but to move with it. Maybe peace comes when we stop saying mine, my past, my plan, my pain, and just start saying this too. This moment, this feeling, this person, it's here now, and that's enough. Because everything that comes to you is just passing through you, like a traveler stopping for tea before moving on. And when you begin to see it that way, you start to live differently. You stop trying to control so much. You breathe more easily. You start to notice small, quiet things again. The sound of the wind through the trees, the way sunlight touches your hands, the warmth of someone's smile. You stop rushing and start being. Sometimes, I think letting go isn't losing anything. It's making space for peace. When your hands are no longer clinging, your heart can finally rest. And hey, if these words make you feel even a little bit lighter, stay close. Subscribe to this channel. Not because you have to, but because maybe we're walking the same quiet path, learning little by little how to live with open hands and a softer heart. Because the truth is, nothing really belongs to us, not even this breath. But that's not something to fear. It's something beautiful. It means everything you love was never trapped, never owned. It was free, always free. And so are you. So for now, take a deep breath. Feel it come in and let it go. Just like that. The simplest act of trust. Maybe that's all life is asking of us. To trust. To let go. To love what is here while it's here. And that's enough. There's a moment, somewhere between holding on and letting go, when everything inside you goes quiet. It's not that you stop caring or that you stop feeling. It's just that you finally understand that clinging doesn't keep anything from leaving, and release doesn't mean you stop loving. It's a strange kind of peace, one that doesn't shout or shine. It just settles quietly in your chest, like a soft light after the storm. Maybe you've been there, staring at something you loved, realizing you can't keep it the way it was. Maybe it was a person or a place, or just a season of your life that slipped away before you were ready. And for a while it hurts. Of course it does. Letting go always hurts. But after that hurt, if you're gentle with yourself, there's space. There's air. There's calm. I think we spend so much of our lives trying to make things stay. We frame the moments we love. We plan the future. We hold people close. But life in its quiet wisdom keeps reminding us, you can hold a memory, but not the moment. Things change. People grow. Time moves. And the more we try to freeze it all, the more it slips through our fingers. Maybe that's not cruelty. Maybe it's mercy. Because if nothing ever changed, we'd never learn what love really means. Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you care enough to allow what's meant to move. You stop fighting the flow. You stop arguing with reality. And little by little, your heart begins to soften. You start to see that life has its own rhythm, one you don't have control. Sometimes, I think letting go is not something you do. It's something that happens when you finally stop resisting. Like when you unclench your hands after holding on too long. The release isn't forced. It's natural. The pain of holding on becomes heavier than the fear of release. And in that quiet surrender, something inside you sighs with relief. And you realize nothing was ever really yours to lose. The people who left, the moments that passed, the plans that fell apart, they were never meant to stay forever. They came to teach you something, to touch your heart, to move you a little closer to understanding. Then they moved on, just as you will one day. So maybe when the next wave of change comes, and it will, you don't have to brace yourself this time. Maybe you just breathe and whisper to yourself, it's okay. Let it flow. Because everything that's meant for you will find you, and everything that's not will pass through gently, like wind through open hands. And when you start living this way, open, unafraid, trusting, you notice something beautiful. Life doesn't take from you as much as it gives. Every ending brings a new space for something softer, something unexpected, something real. So tonight, maybe you can try this. Sit quietly for a moment. Think of something you've been holding on to, a memory, a worry, a person, a version of yourself. And then, in your heart, whisper, thank you for what you've given me. You can go now. It's not goodbye. It's grace. And if this moment of stillness brings even a small piece to you, I'd love to keep walking with you. Subscribe. Stay close. We'll keep learning how to live lightly together, how to love deeply without needing to hold so tight. Because sometimes the most loving thing we can do is to let go. You know, there's something beautifully bittersweet about realizing that everything changes. At first, it can feel like loss, like the world is quietly taking away pieces of you, one by one. But over time, if you stay still enough to see it differently, you start to understand maybe this constant change isn't a thief at all. Maybe it's a teacher. Life is always moving, in small ways, in quiet ways, in ways we don't even notice. The seasons change, the faces we love age, the sound of our own laughter shifts as we grow. Nothing stays exactly the same, not even the person we see in the mirror. And maybe that's okay. Maybe that's how it's supposed to be. There's an old story about a monk who used to sit by a river every morning. One day, a young man asked him, Master, why you come here every day if the water is never the same? The monk smiled and said, Because the river teaches me how to live. The young man frowned, not understanding. The monk continued, The water flows, it never holds, it never stays, yet it always finds its way. That's how peace is found. Not by clinging to the shore, but by learning to flow. Maybe we're all standing by our own rivers, watching things pass, trying to hold on to what can't be kept. We build stories around the moments we love and call them mine. But just like the river, life moves on, carrying everything forward. And when we resist that flow, we suffer. When we learn to float, we're free. I used to think peace came from keeping things steady, holding my world together, keeping everyone happy, making sure nothing fell apart. But the truth is, peace doesn't live in control. It lives in acceptance. It lives in the soft understanding that nothing needs to last forever to have meaning. Think about your favorite sunset. You don't try to make it stay, do you? You just watch, knowing it's fading, and somehow that makes it even more beautiful. That's what life is, a series of sunsets, each one meant to be seen, not owned. And maybe you've noticed the moments that touch you the most are the ones you couldn't plan. A laugh that caught you off guard, a stranger's kindness, a quiet morning that felt sacred for no reason at all. Those moments are gifts, not possessions. They arrive, they fill your heart, and then they go. And the beauty is, you don't lose them. They become part of you, quietly, gently, without needing to stay. So if today feels uncertain, if things seem to be shifting faster than you can hold on, maybe that's not something to fight. Maybe it's something to trust. Change doesn't always mean something's ending. Sometimes it's just life's way of opening a new door. You don't have to chase forever. You don't have to freeze the good moments or fear the bad ones. Just be here, fully softly now. That's where freedom begins. In this breath, in this heartbeat. And if this message touches something in you, if you felt that pull between holding on and letting life flow, I want you to know you're not alone. We're learning this together. So if you haven't yet, take a moment to subscribe, not because you need another reminder to let go, but because sometimes it helps to walk this path with a voice that understands, a gentle space that says, it's okay, you're doing fine. You know that feeling when you're trying so hard to keep everything together. Your plans, your relationships, your image. And no matter how much you hold on, life just keeps slipping through your fingers? Yeah, we all know that feeling. It's heavy, isn't it? Like carrying the world in your chest. And the harder you try to hold it, the tighter it grips back. We all grow up believing control will keep us safe. That if we plan enough, work hard enough, say the right things, maybe, just maybe, everything will stay the way we want. But the truth is, control is just another illusion we build to feel less scared. It doesn't stop change. It only exhausts us trying. Maybe you've noticed, life is a funny way of humbling our plans. The job that didn't last. The person who left. The body that changed before you were ready. It's almost as if the universe keeps whispering, you were never meant to hold this. And at first, that sounds cruel, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's mercy in disguise. Because every time something falls apart, something else quietly opens space. Space to breathe. Space to see. Space to finally stop fighting with what is. When we stop trying to make life match our expectations, we start to actually meet it just as it is. The Buddha once said, suffering is wanting the world to be different from what it is. And you can feel the truth in that, right? When you're wishing something were still the same, when you can't stop replaying what should have been, that's the ache of resistance. But the moment you whisper to yourself, maybe this is how it's supposed to be, something softens. The fight eases. You begin to rest in what's real. Control is a beautiful dream, but peace is found when you wake up from it. You don't have to manage every detail. You don't have to fix every storm. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply stop, take a breath, feel the ground beneath you. Let life be what it is, even if it's messy, uncertain, or not what you planned. And here's the quiet truth. You're not weak for letting go. You're not giving up. You're allowing yourself to live without the constant weight of fear. When you release control, you make room for trust. Trust in life's rhythm. Trust in your own resilience. Trust that maybe, just maybe, you're being led somewhere softer than you imagined. So if today feels out of your hands, that's okay. You don't need to have it all figured out. None of us do. Maybe the next right step isn't to grab tighter. Maybe it's to open your hands. If these words find you at the right moment, if something in you sighs in relief just hearing them, then maybe this is your reminder to slow down, to breathe again. And if you'd like to keep walking through these gentle reflections together, consider subscribing, not for the noise of another video, but for a quiet space that reminds you it's okay to stop trying so hard. It's okay to just be here. There comes a moment, quiet, small, almost unnoticeable, when you just stop running. You stop chasing the next thing, the next answer, the next version of yourself. Maybe it happens after a heartbreak, or when a dream doesn't turn out the way you hoped. Maybe it happens on a random Tuesday, when you're sitting alone and suddenly realize you're tired. Not just physically, but tired in your soul. We spend so much of our lives chasing love, success, approval, belonging, and sometimes we don't even know why. It's like this inner voice keeps whispering, keep going, you're almost there. But there never really arrives, does it? Because every time we reach one thing, the mind moves the goalpost. Now you need more. Now you need better. It's endless. Maybe that's why peace feels so hard to find, because we keep looking for it in motion. But peace doesn't live in chasing. It lives in stopping, in realizing that you don't have to earn the right to rest. You don't have to prove your worth by being endlessly busy or endlessly improving. The Buddha once compared craving to fire, always burning, always consuming. The more you feed it, the bigger it grows. But the moment you stop feeding it, something beautiful happens. The fire begins to die down. The smoke clears. And suddenly you can see again. You can see what's right in front of you. The simple things you've been too distracted to notice. Maybe peace isn't something you find at all. Maybe it's what's left when you stop searching. When you stop trying to turn life into something it's not. When you just sit with what is, the way the light falls through the window, the sound of your own breathing, the warmth of being alive in this moment. That's it. That's peace. We've been taught that letting go means losing. But what if it's the opposite? What if letting go is how you finally make room for what's real? You lose the weight of expectation, the pressure of perfection, the noise of needing to become someone. And in that space, you begin to remember who you already are. You are not behind. You are not broken. You don't need to chase yourself into worthiness. You're already enough, just here, just now. And if you've been chasing for a long time, if your heart feels worn out from running, maybe this is your moment to pause. Just pause. Let your shoulders drop. Let your breath slow down. You don't need to arrive anywhere. You're already home. If this message feels like a breath of air after a long run, maybe stay for a while. This space, this channel, is meant for that. A quiet corner to rest, to reflect, to remember that you're not alone in learning how to stop chasing. If that sounds like something your heart needs, consider subscribing. We'll keep walking gently together, one still breath at a time. There's something almost sacred about letting go. It doesn't come with fanfare or a big announcement. It's quiet, almost invisible, like a leaf finally falling when the wind is ready. You don't force it. You just feel that soft knowing inside that says, it's time. Letting go isn't easy. It asks you to trust what you can't yet see, to loosen your grip on the stories you've carried for so long. Stories about who you should be, who you've been, and who you thought would stay. It's like standing at the edge of something familiar and realizing you can't carry everything across. Some things, people, memories, versions of yourself, can't come with you, and that's okay. Most of us try to let go by pushing things away. We think if we reject the pain, it'll disappear. But true release doesn't come from resistance. It comes from acceptance. When you stop fighting the ache, when you just allow it to exist, even for a moment, something begins to shift. The pain softens. The heart unclenches. You begin to breathe again. Maybe you've noticed this too, how sometimes the things we cling to the hardest are the very things that weigh us down. We hold on because we're afraid of the emptiness that might follow. But what if that emptiness isn't a void to fear, but a space to grow into? Maybe letting go isn't losing. Maybe it's returning to yourself, to peace, to the quiet truth that was always there beneath all the noise. The Buddha once said that attachment is the root of suffering. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't love or care deeply. It means learning to love without trying to own, to care without needing control. It's the kind of love that says, I want your happiness, even if it's not with me. The kind that whispers, I'm grateful for what we shared, even if it couldn't last. That's what real freedom feels like, when love no longer depends on holding, but on understanding. So maybe today you can start small. Maybe there's something you've been gripping too tightly, a regret, a disappointment, a what if. What if you just set it down for a while? You don't have to throw it away. Just loosen your hand. See how it feels to breathe without carrying so much. Letting go doesn't erase what came before. It just makes space for what's next. And in that space, new life begins, quietly, gently, like spring following winter. If this message sits somewhere deep inside you, if it reminds you of something your soul already knows, you might want to stay close, subscribe, and let's keep walking through these gentle truths together. No rush, no pressure, just two hearts learning, one breath at a time. There's a kind of peace that doesn't come from changing your life, but from finally resting inside it. It's not loud or dramatic. It doesn't arrive with fireworks or music swelling in the background. It comes quietly, like sunlight to the blinds in the early morning, soft and steady. You might not even notice it at first, until you realize, for once, your heart isn't racing ahead or looking behind. It's just here. Most of us spend so much time anywhere but now. We replay the past, trying to fix what's already gone. Or we rush toward the future, trying to secure what's not yet real. But the truth is, the only place life ever really happens is right here, in this breath, in this heartbeat, in this ordinary moment that you're living right now. Maybe peace isn't something you find. Maybe it's something you stop running from. Because when you stop searching for more, the moment your inside starts to open up, you notice the way the light hits the table, the sound of the rain against a window, the warmth of a cup of tea in your hands. You start to feel life, not as a concept, but as something living through you. And it's okay if you forget sometimes. We all do. The mind loves to wander. It loves to plan, to worry, to fix. But every time you notice it drifting, you have a chance to come home again. Just take a breath. Feel it fill your chest. That's the doorway back to the present. It's always there, waiting for you. The Buddha once said that the past is already gone. The future is not yet here. There's only this moment to live. And that's not a command, it's an invitation. You don't have to escape your life to find peace. You just have to be willing to be where you are. Even if it's messy, even if it's uncertain. because the present moment is honest. It doesn't demand that you be perfect. It just asks you to be real. Maybe today, instead of trying to fix everything, you could just notice one small thing that's okay. The way the air feels on your skin, the sound of a bird somewhere far away, the rhythm of your own breath. These are tiny doorways to peace. So small, most people walk past them. But if you pause long enough, they open into something vast and quiet and deeply alive. Peace doesn't mean everything's perfect. It means you've stopped needing it to be. You've stopped fighting the way things are. You've learned to trust that even here, even now, there's something good enough to hold on to. And maybe that's the beginning of freedom. If these words feel like a soft place to land, if they remind you that you're allowed to slow down, you're welcome to stay. Subscribe if you'd like to keep walking together through moments like this. No noise, no rush, just gentle reminders that the present is already enough. There's a certain tenderness that comes with growing older, not weakness, but a quiet kind of strength, the kind that understands life isn't about winning or losing anymore. It's about softening. It's about learning to hold yourself and others with a little more compassion. You see, compassion isn't just about being kind to others. It's about remembering that you, too, are worthy of kindness. We often forget that part. We spend years giving time, giving care, giving love. But when it comes to ourselves, we hesitate. We say, I'll rest later, or I should have known better. But compassion begins right there, in those moments when you choose to forgive yourself for being human. Maybe you've carried guilt for too long. Maybe you look back at old choices and thought, I should have done it differently. But the truth is, you did the best you could with what you knew at the time. And that's enough. You can stop punishing yourself for not being perfect. No one gets it all right, not even the wise ones. Life isn't a test to pass. It's a journey to understand. The Buddha often spoke about compassion as the heart's natural response to suffering. Not pity, not judgment, just the willingness to see someone's pain, including your own, and say, may you be free from this. That small wish can change everything. Because the moment you meet your pain with kindness, it begins to loosen its grip. Sometimes compassion looks like listening instead of fixing. Sometimes it's simply not turning away from your own sorrow or someone else's. It's choosing to stay, to breathe, to love, even when it hurts a little. That's what makes compassion so powerful. It softens what's hard, and it connects what's been broken. And maybe that's what the world needs now. Less judgment, more gentleness. Less trying to prove, more trying to understand. Because we're all carrying something, aren't we? Loss, fear, regret, hope. We're all walking each other home, even when we don't realize it. If you ever feel like you're too small to make a difference, just remember this. One kind thought, one calm breath, one moment of patience. It matters. It ripples out quietly like light across water. And sometimes that's all it takes to make the world a little softer. So maybe tonight before you sleep, you can whisper something kind to yourself. I'm doing okay, because you are. Maybe not perfect, but real, and that's more than enough. If this message touches something gentle inside you, stay with me here. Subscribe if you'd like, not out of obligation, but out of connection. This little space is a reminder that compassion begins with presence and grows every time we remember we're not alone. There's a quiet truth that life keeps teaching us. Over and over, we're not really in control the way we think we are. We plan, we predict, we hold tight, believing that if we just try hard enough, everything will stay the way we want it to. But life, it has its own rhythm. It moves like the tide, gentle sometimes, and other times pulling everything we thought was certain out to sea. Maybe you felt that too, that sudden moment when something you built so carefully just shifts. A relationship changes, a plan falls apart, your health, your peace. Something slips through your fingers, and all you can do is watch. It's in those moments that we see how fragile control really is. But that doesn't have to be frightening. In fact, maybe it's a kind of freedom, because when you stop trying to control everything, you begin to notice what was always here, the small, steady things that don't depend on your effort to exist, the breath moving in and out of your lungs, the feeling of the ground beneath your feet, the sky still opening wide above you, no matter what's happening in your world. Those things remind you that even when life doesn't go your way, you're still being held by something larger. The Buddha once said that clinging leads to suffering, and control is just another form of clinging. We try to grip reality so tightly that it begins to hurt. We think control will keep us safe, but it often just keeps us tense. And the irony is, the moment we loosen that grip, the moment we let things be what they are, peace starts to slip quietly back in. Letting go of control doesn't mean giving up. It means learning to trust the rhythm of life, even when you can't see where it's going, to trust that what's meant for you will find you, even if it takes time, to trust that every ending carries a hidden beginning, even if your heart doesn't see it yet. Maybe the real strength isn't in controlling the storm, but in learning how to stand still within it. You breathe, you soften, you remind yourself, I don't need to have it all figured out today. Because you don't. You never did. And that's okay. Sometimes life will take things from you. Sometimes it will surprise you with gifts you never expected. All of it, the loss, the joy, the uncertainty, is part of the same dance. And maybe your only task is to stay awake to it, to keep showing up, even when you don't know what comes next. If you've been holding too tightly to something lately, a plan, a dream, a person, maybe this is your reminder to just take one small breath and ease your grip. The world won't fall apart. It might actually start to open. And if these words bring you even a little peace, stay close. Subscribe if you like to keep walking through this gentle space together. Here, we're just learning how to live with open hands, not trying to control the flow of life, but learning to trust it moment by moment. There comes a point, maybe after years of searching, or maybe in one quiet, ordinary afternoon, when you realize there's nothing left to cling to. All the things you thought you needed to define you, all the stories you told yourself about what life should be, they start to fade. At first, it feels like loss, like something's being taken away. But slowly, gently, it begins to feel like something deeper, like being set free. Because when you finally have nothing to hold on to, you also have nothing holding you. You start to move through life lighter, softer. You stop needing everything to make sense. You stop trying to make things stay. You just breathe. You let each moment come, and you let it go. And in that rhythm, that simple rhythm of allowing, peace starts to grow in places you didn't even know were aching. The Buddha taught that clinging is the root of suffering. But he also taught that when we release our grasp, when we stop reaching for what we can't control, the heart naturally opens. It's not something we force. It's something that happens on its own, the way the dawn happens without effort. It's the kind of freedom that doesn't depend on what you have or what you lose, because it lives inside you. And maybe that's what this whole journey has been about. Not becoming something new, but uncovering what was always there beneath all the layers of wanting and fear, that quiet, steady awareness that says, I'm okay right now, not because life is perfect, but because you're no longer fighting it. Sometimes people think freedom means having everything you want. But real freedom, the kind that lasts, is being at peace even when you don't. It's waking up in the morning and realizing you don't need to chase the day. You can meet it instead. You can walk through it open, curious, unguarded. You can let things come and go without losing yourself in their passing. There's such beauty in simplicity. In this breath, this heartbeat, this tiny moment that asks for nothing more than your presence. The mind will try to pull you away, whispering that you need to hold on to something. An idea, a plan, a person, a past. But maybe you don't. Maybe you can trust that what's meant to stay will stay. And what needs to leave will leave gently in its own time. If you can live from that place, that space of open hands and a soft heart, then life begins to feel different. You stop chasing after peace and start realizing you were never separate from it. It's always been here, quietly waiting for you to stop holding on long enough to notice. And maybe that's what this little space is for, a reminder that you don't have to carry it all. You don't have to figure it all out. You just have to breathe and be here. If these words bring you even a moment of calm, stay with me. Subscribe, and let's keep walking this simple path together. One quiet breath, one gentle truth, one small release at a time.